Welcome back to Up the Villa podcast for our match preview, Everton v Aston Villa. Big game for Villa. Big reaction needed. I imagine that the clipboard's been out, the video room, they've all been in there looking at, and more of reiterating, I think, how he wants to do things, I think that's one of the things he'll have been doing. He'll be going over the game and showing them what went wrong, what needs to improve. And there were strong words from Unai after the game saying there will be a reaction like never before. So I'm fully expecting this Villa side to be bang up for this game and to put in a massive performance, because that's what's required. We know that it wasn't good enough for Unai Emery. It definitely wasn't good enough for me. I was a little bit critical of the performance, but it's the nature of where we are. Emery wants to play a certain way. He's got massive expectations that he puts on himself. He said himself that he's never been involved in a 4-2 loss or anything like that 2 games in a row. So, we've got to start performing like an Unai Emery side, and it has to start at Goodison. So, joined by Ryan. That's my little intro. But we're moving on. We're moving on to something quite positive now. And I think it's a big positive, because dare I say, we've got one of the most informed strikers in the Premier League at the minute, Ollie Watkins, with 4 goals in his last 4 games. And I would say something bold here, that I would say both of those goals from Ollie Watkins, for me, against Man City and Arsenal, I would say they're 2 of the best goals he scored for Aston Villa. Looking at the run he made, the having to sort of hold off opposition players, the accuracy of the strikes, the pressure on those strikes, because he knows that he ain't going to get loads of chances against Man City. He's not going to get loads of chances against Arsenal. 1 shot, 1 goal, clinical. Bang. Love it. Ryan, talk to me about Watkins.
He's lethal, isn't he, mate? He's absolutely lethal. All this nonsense that you can't finish, like you say. 1 shot, 1 goal. And, he has improved immensely since Unai Emery has come in. I think, would I say he's probably the most improved player since Emery's come in the door? Consistency level through the roof. It's 7 every week, isn't it? Without fail. He's running the line. He's getting himself into good positions. He's powerful. And when Kashi chipped that ball over to him, and his first touch, he took him a bit away from the goal then against Arsenal. But the confidence of the man now, he's thinking, you know what? I'm heading straight to goal. I'm taking you on. And as soon as he gets that little half a yard, it was bang, wasn't it? Finish. Superb. And I think it's only Haaland and Rashford since the World Cup that have scored more goals than Ollie Watkins. So he's really finding his feet under him.
Yeah. And, a couple of things that I'm liking about him now. I'm not saying I didn't like him before, but, some of the things that I'm really liking about him. I love this celebration after one of his goals against Leicester. I think it was Leicester, where he was just like, calm down. I got this. Don't worry. And I think that was due to, the Danny Ings thing going. And what I would say is I'm loving his mentality. He's the main man. And what you'd expect now is what I probably would have expected is him to think, well, there's no one pushing me for my shirt now, so I'm just chill. I'm just like going through motions during the game. But it's the complete opposite now. It feels like I'm the main man. I'll bag the goals. He's done an interview for Villa TV, the one where he's got like the popcorn and the drink in like the cinema. And he's saying like, I want more goals. I want and I will get more goals. And I just love that side of him. I think of when you think of a striker, you think, they've got to have that bit of selfishness about them. And I think he's kind of grasping it a little bit, that he needs to be, talk himself up a little bit as well, and just have that bit of belief. And I think it's definitely showing. So for me, I'm really impressed with Watkins, and I think if I'm looking at this game against Everton, they need to be worried about Ollie Watkins because he's banging form.
Yeah, and he's scored goals at Goodison before, hasn't he, for Villa? But I think you made a very good point there, Luke. It's that mentality now, isn't it? Like, you are a Premier League striker. You're no longer that winger that used to rock up at Exeter or Brentford. You're not a winger anymore. You're a striker. You're an international striker. You've scored goals for England. And you just get the feeling now he's focused. He's focused on scoring goals and being our bagsman, our talisman, and leading that line. All the faith has been put in him, hasn't it? Since even when Gerrard come in, it was like, Gerrard had played with Danny Ings. He likes Danny Ings, but Ollie had the shirt, didn't he? And then when Emery come in, it was like, is he going to go Ollie? Is he going to go Ings? And again, the faith got put in Ollie. So manager after manager is keeping him as the top man. And I think, I don't know, it just feels like something's clicked at the minute. You look back to the summer when he was having the finishing coach and putting the graft in, and it weren't really paying off at the start of the season, was it? But you look back now and you think probably all that graft now, combined with confidence, combined with the manager putting belief in him and trusting him, it feels like it's all coming together now. And long may it continue, because he's a smashing professional. He's a lovable guy, and for him to lead this Aston Villa team since the last 3 years, hasn't it? He's been absolutely tremendous. He causes no trouble. He causes no bother, and now he's reaping his rewards. And long may it continue.
And I've never said this on the pod before, but I feel like when Coutinho was going through this little quiet spell of trying to get fit and get better and whatever, the impact of Coutinho at Villa is big as well. And I think sometimes you take for granted that sometimes these players don't need to be in the starting 11 that are making a big impact in the squad. We talk about Ashley Young, and you think about Ashley Young and you say, right, he's great to have around in the dressing room because he's experienced, he's been there, he's won trophies. But I think Coutinho is helping things as well with Watkins. Get on the right wavelength of where he should be and where the run should go and stuff like that. So I think Coutinho, without seeing him like tearing it up in the Premier League so far this season, but I think he might have a bit of an impact on him as well and stuff behind the scenes. So I've just got a vibe about Coutinho and Watkins. I just think they've got a bit of summer in training, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there are players like that, isn't there? It's really good to have around the dressing room. I think Al Mohammadi was another one. And even though Mika Richards was picking up 40 grand a week and he was injured, I think behind the scenes, he was doing a very good job for squad morale. I think being that link between the youth players and the main squad, wasn't it? I think you do need him. And I think Coutinho, he was a £140 million player. He's played for Barca, Munich, all that experience. And for me, Coutinho, he's very, very humble, Luke. And he's not like this big ego that's walked through the door like I've done it all. I've not once got that vibe off him. So I think he's an excellent player still to have around the training ground. And his form is picking up as well, isn't it? It's really good to see sort of a sprinkle of the magic coming back. Yeah, the one that exploded in January onto the scene. So
he looked a yard on it this time, whereas he's always, for me, this season, he's looked a yard off it. I always watch him and I think, you shouldn't be there now. You should be there. And I felt like on Saturday, he was where I wanted him to sort of be. So I think he had a good game. So let's talk about Carlos then, because we've seen on social media the last couple of days that it looks like he's been it looked like he had to walk through the players as sort of like a welcome back. So we know he's been in training, but I'm gathering that this Carlos is starting to ramp up now. I think he's starting to get closer and closer. I mean, we're going to the under-23s on Friday. Potentially, he may be in and around that. I mean, he's got to somehow build up some sort of match fitness. So I don't know what his schedule's going to be like. But, you know, we're going to that. I'd absolutely love him to be there and to play. So, so it feels like he's getting closer, doesn't it?
It does feel close. It does feel close. Seeing him on them training pictures, walking out, he's a beast, isn't he, man? His physique is incredible, man. Those calves, them legs, crikey. And it's super news. It's super news to see him out there. Because if you wanted to sign a defender right now, Luke, you know, what attributes would you be looking for? You'd be looking for someone strong, someone with a presence, pace, ball playing, and a passing range, and experienced. And all them attributes is Mr. Diego Carlos. Yeah. So if we can, the thing is, we don't really need to rush him. Like Konza and Mings' form has been good. It's been stable. I know there's the odd mistake thrown in, obviously, at the weekend, but it's stable. So it's not like we're in a relegation battle and we have to rush him back quick because for me, we've just got to take our time with him because it was a very bad injury. And at his age as well, he's done well to recover so quickly. So, but saying that, I do hope he's there on Friday at the under-23s. It'd be good to see him. It's a morale boost for the squad as well, isn't it? Yeah. It's another player in. So, good to see him, man.
Right, let's get into the preview then for Everton. So, surprisingly,
this is a very good record, isn't it?
I'm telling you now, surprisingly, let me just clear that so you can see the bottom one as well. So normally when I do these, we're coming up against a side that we have a stinking record against. Their record overall, they are better than us, but no, 5 wins, 2 draws since we got promoted back to the Premier League against Everton. We've beat them 2-1, 1-0, 3-0, 0-0, 2-1. So the record is very good against Everton. The head-to-head record, we've got 8 away wins. They've only got sort of like 9 home wins against us. So the away win record is pretty decent for Villa as well. This is how they lined up for their last game. We will go more in depth into this on the predicted lineup, but you know, we've got to talk about the way Dyche is setting them up, really. So, dare I say it, it's what you expect from a Dyche team, I think. I've watched them a few times now, and it's pretty much what you expect. You know, they're loving corners, set pieces. They're going to be a threat from those with Tarkowski. They're playing 3 in central midfield with Idrissa Gana as more of a holder. They've got Onana, who I think is fantastic, and Doucouré. So Onana and Doucouré, you know, are getting a little bit further forward. You've got Iwobi and Dwight McNeil. They had Maupay. They had Ellis Sims for the Liverpool game. And then they had Calvert-Lewin, who got injured on his first game back from injury. So he's out again. But, you know, it's very solid, very determined. Goodison's going to be a difficult place to go to. They don't score a load of goals, but they like to work the balls in right areas that suit them where they can do you damage. So we've got to be careful of Onana going forward because he's a big threat. But I think you can get at Coleman, you can get at Mikalenko. You know, if you shut down Dwight McNeil early as well, you stop him from getting balls in. So I'm expecting a tough game, but for me, we've got to go there and do the right things for us. So do you want to add anything, Ryan?
Yeah, I agree. It will be a tough game. I think after the Leicester game, we lost to Leicester. It was like, oh, God, we've got Man City and Arsenal. We're going to lose both of them. But I actually think this period we've got coming up is very, very tough. We've got Everton, Palace, West Ham and Bournemouth. Now, it's March time, it's coming to spring, and this is where it gets a bit desperate, doesn't it? It gets a bit dirty, it gets a bit dogged, gets a bit scruffy. It's like survival mode, isn't it? And you don't want to go in them games and get caught up in that fight. And Goodison is going to be rocking. It's incredible in 2 games, it's gone from being toxic city to like a fortress. So they've got big momentum at home, and they need to pick up the home wins because their away form for the last 2 years really has been dreadful. But at home, they're putting in the graft, which you'd expect from a Dyche team. Full on heart, full on commitment. But where I do feel like the weak, Luke, is attacking wise. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jesus Christ, he can't catch a break, can he, at the minute? He cannot catch a break. He can't stay fit. I heard people saying that Dyche was asking like what type of mattress he was sleeping on and stuff like that, trying to find out where all these injuries are coming from. And oh God, he's having a nightmare. So I think that is their weak point. But like you've highlighted there, the midfield, I think that's where the game's going to be won and lost.
The worst part that it works hard. So whether they lack ability going forward, if they keep it tight, they're still in the game. They won their last game 1-0. If you can build a solid, like you say, solid foundation, a solid base to work with, then you're always in the game and having a chance, aren't you? So it's important that Villa move the ball quickly. And I think Watkins is going to be important in this game as well, because I look at Cody, and I think you can get in and around Cody. You can drag him around. You can, he's not the quickest, is he, Cody? So although they're doing well, and I think they've had some good results, I don't think they've come up against. I know they lost to Liverpool, a side that's working well. Do you know what I mean? Like a good side. They came up against a Leeds slot side who are flaky, who had no strength.
Who didn't have a shot on goal.
Exactly. The Arsenal one, Arsenal never turned up, did they? They got absolutely bullied. So I think if we can go there and do what I expect us to do, then I think we can come away with a positive result. So
yeah, because I think after Emery's interview at the weekend, I think we are expecting a huge reaction, but it's not the type of reaction that I would normally say. Like when you come off a defeat, I'll probably sit here and go, right, I want to see a reaction. I want to see us at it. I want to see us like flooding into the box. I want to see us aggressive. I don't think it's going to be that type of reaction, is it, Luke? It's going to be calm. It's going to be possession based. We're going to build.
It's going to be a reaction of back to how he wants us to play.
Yes.
So where I'm saying the reaction is like playing out from the back quicker. The midfielders working better. It's all that. So whatever you think of how our style of play is and what we do, that's what I'm expecting.
It was a very, very smart interview, Luke. It was very smart because he got his point across without really throwing the players under the bus. He's made his point, but he also backed it up by saying, look, if you build up and play from the back and you make a mistake and it costs us, he'll wear it. He will wear it. He'll take responsibility for it. So I do think we will resort back to trying how he was playing against Brighton, against Spurs. They were the type of Emery performances that we were seeing. And the last 3 games, that progression's been diluted, hasn't it? It's been lacking. So I think we see focused Aston Villa, focus on like the type of team we've got to be, instead of, like he said, this passionate running around, scoring, getting excited, getting nervous. He's trying to calm all that, isn't he? He's just trying to level it up. So you concentrate on the style. And I do think, though, we've got a good set of leaders in this squad, Luke. We've got Martinez, Mings, McGinn. I even throw Dougie Luiz in that. Watkins up top. That is a strong spine. And that Arsenal game, I just think they've got to come together and calm it out now and reset the team. if you go 5-10 minute spell where you're not really playing to what the manager wants, not really what you've planned, I think it's down to these core leaders, these characters, to say, "Whoa, come on, we need to get back on it." So I think these guys have got to take some responsibility as well and help Emery out. But that interview after the game, just loved it. He's very, very smart. So I'm hoping, we're all hoping to see a very good reaction from him.
Yeah, and I think he's not afraid to be honest, which is something that I really, really like. How many times would you hear Steve Bruce that the old, we'll roll our sleeves up and we'll go again? I mean,
yeah,
that doesn't sort of like inspire me, right?
No.
What that don't inspire your players. Now our manager now is coming out saying we're not playing how we should be playing, or what we should be doing, or this isn't our standard. Like, if you were hearing that as a player, you'd be thinking, fucking hell, like he's literally like going at it. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's so refreshing that he's speaking in this way, because I just think it was just so honest, so refreshing, and he's sort of like speaking to us a little bit through the interview, isn't he? Like,
That's what I was going to say. I feel like
I'm with you. Like, if you want to criticize this performance, go ahead and do it, because that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, it's a huge insight for us as well, and gives us some clarity, doesn't it? To know that we weren't supposed to be playing like that. We were supposed to be like trying to build and trying to keep possession. And that interview, it was an avoidable subject, really. He didn't have to go into it, did he? But it's something that he wanted to get off his chest. 3 defeats on the spin. You just lost 4-2 to Arsenal, which I think he was hoping for a good performance, a good style against his former club. There might still be a bit of bitterness there as well. So it was a very, very good interview that we hope we can react from on Saturday.
Definitely. Right, so let's get back into Everton. We're a bit off topic. So this is Everton's average positions from their game against Leeds. As you can see, Garner is playing there. You've got Onana and Decore a little bit further forward. Maupay, McNeil, Iwobi. You've got their defenders through there as well. This was the Everton passing network against Leeds United. So they're getting the ball into Decore, into Iwobi, into McNeil. And this is what I was saying about if you can shut McNeil down, get in and around Decore, same as Iwobi. I think that area there, if you stop this from happening here and here, you can get a little bit of joy. If we can get players in these little pockets through here, breaking through the lines, I think we'll get joy as well, especially through Mikalenko. I think he can definitely be got at. So, I know you love this graphic, Ryan.
Yes, I stumbled across it the other week, and it gives you a very good insight, doesn't it? Especially with the average positions, and you can see the way the team's building, and it's sort of like you can get lost with some stats and not really tell you the full details. But this type of network, this passing network, sort of it's there, isn't it? It does give you that visual of how we are playing, and it is what we're seeing on the pitch, isn't it? You look back on them Villa ones and you see the shape and the way Moreno come in, and you can see it's working it down the left-hand side. So it's very interesting stuff. It's caught my attention anyway.
Yeah, this was the Everton shot map against Leeds United. So, getting quite a few shots off there. They were, I wouldn't say dominant in the game. You can see there it's a bit to and fro, especially in the second half. Their attacking efficiency in that game as well. Their danger creation in this game, quite central, to be fair. And then this is their danger creation all season, where they've been conceding goals from. Down that left-hand side, you're getting a little bit of joy against Everton all season. And then that's Everton's style of play. I don't think that does any justice, but
No.
yeah, that's their style of play. So there's just some of the stats that I thought I'd show you about Everton. So yeah, we've said our thoughts. It's going to be a big game. We'll go into the shape of the team and stuff a little bit more in detail in the predicted lineup. But Ryan, if I had to ask you just a couple of things, then what do you want to see on Saturday?
I want to see our team make Emery happy, to be honest, mate. That's what I want to see. But yeah, focused. I want to see us brave, committed. You've got to have belief in what you're doing when you're sort of playing out from the back and building and maintaining it over 90 minutes. It's you've got to remain focused, and it's difficult. It is difficult, but I want to see our boys give it all. Martinez as well. I want to see a focused Martinez. I think what happened in the last game, he had a shocker. He had a mare of a game, probably his worst game, and I don't think he'll have a game like that again. So I want to see Martinez focused, that back line solid, everybody working together. And then, yeah, I want to see us throw Everton around, The last few home games, it's been very tight, very structured. And I want to see that mobility. I want to see us passing, moving. That second goal, Luke, that we scored against Arsenal, you've probably seen the video on social media where it's like in the North Stand looking down on it. And it's such a good goal. It really is a good goal. And that's the type of football that Emery wants to see. And that's the type of football that I'd love to see Aston Villa play. I'd love it, because when they do get motoring like that, it's good football to watch. Yeah. So we just don't want to get caught up in a battle with Everton. We don't want to go there, let them lump balls in our box, let them get set pieces
where they want to take us.
Yes, we've got to rock up there and we've got to dictate our style on them and force them to into their mistakes, force them away from their game plan, force them away from long balls, set pieces. That's another thing we've got to be very strong come Saturday. And hopefully Ollie Watkins makes it 5 out of 5, mate. That'll be very good.
Definitely. So let's go score predictions then. I'm gonna say we got a good Villa turning up here. So I'm gonna go 2-0 Villa. Come on. What are you gonna go with?
I think before the preview, I did think 1-1, but I'm gonna go 2-1. We've got to have it. Yeah, 2-1. I think once we score, there's no chance Everton will score 2 in one game. I don't think. Yeah. I think they're lacking on firepower, to be honest. So, 2-1 Villa.
Cool, love it. Right, we'll leave it there then. So, if you've enjoyed the video, drop it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and just get involved in the comments section down below. So, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.